The RWL Sweet Revenge 2025 Summer Tour begins Monday, June 30th, right here on the RWL YouTube channel. Alright fans, welcome back to the second half of tonight's RWL Rage. From Birmingham, Alabama, Don Hickson, Christy Ogilvie, and Myron Schimmelman here with you for the second half. And is this where the surprises come in, Myron?
More than a few, Don, trust me. This is going to be fantastic.
Christy, would you look at that smile? I'm going to trust that he knows what he's talking about.
He's definitely up to something, Don, and he's just about to burst, so I'm dying to know what he's got cooked up.
Alright fans, a whole lot happening in the second half. Let's get underway without delay. Legends Division competition starting off the second half as Tojo Yamamoto gets set to lock it up with the one and only Ox Baker.
I know you're thinking size mismatch, but let's be patient and see what happens.
Welcome back. Our second half opening match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Introducing first from Yamaguchi, Japan, weighing 255 pounds, here is Tojo Yamamoto.
Myron, your concern over a size mismatch says to me you know something we don't.
I'm only pointing out that Tojo Yamamoto, a man of his size, 5'6", 255 pounds, you would think someone like Ox Baker over 300 pounds, 6 foot whatever the hell he is going to have a problem. Trust me, Tojo Yamamoto is not going to be having any problems with Ox Baker.
His opponent, along with the Grand Wizard of Wrestling from St. Louis, Missouri, weighing 315 pounds, Ox Baker.
Oh, you see it right there emblazoned on his shirt, the Great Heart Puncher. It is one of the claims to fame for Ox Baker, one of the mainstays of the Grand Wizard of Wrestling stable. And tonight, going one-on-one with Tojo Yamamoto. And frankly, Ox Baker looks supremely confident this evening.
When doesn't he look confident? Doesn't mean a thing.
So, safe to assume you're all the way in for Tojo Yamamoto in this match? That's exactly how it sounds, Myron.
I just think that Tojo is probably going to win. I'm not saying it's a guarantee. You know, things happen. But I think Tojo's got a good shot.
Christy, Myron has proven himself to be the soothsayer before. Let's see what happens with this one. Referee Willie Johnson rings the bell, and here we go. A kick from Tojo, a rebound off the ropes, a flying punch takes Ox Baker down to the canvas, followed up with a quick stomp. Tojo Yamamoto immediately going to work on the head and neck of Ox Baker. Slams his head down to the mat. Tojo Yamamoto opens up with a series of kicks. Ox Baker completely on the defensive here. Tojo Yamamoto winding up the arms of Ox Baker. Follows up with a series of knees into Ox Baker's back. Tojo Yamamoto with a driving wrist clutch knee to the head of Ox Baker. Rounds him up again and repeats the process all over again. Tojo Yamamoto systematic, if anything. Going right back to work on the arms of Ox Baker. And again repeating the double knees into the lower back. Ox Baker quickly back up on his feet and quickly catching a counter kick or two. A series of shots from Tojo Yamamoto. Tojo whips Ox to the far corner. A kick takes him down into a seated position. Tojo putting the boots, metaphorically speaking of course, to Ox Baker. Tojo stalking like a boxer here. Look at this. Ox Baker up over the shoulders and a discus punch from Tojo Yamamoto. And again right back to working on the arms of Ox Baker. Ox Baker has mounted absolutely literally zero offense in this match up to this point. Tojo Yamamoto has been completely dominant. Rebound off the, what a beautiful moonsault. The Grand Wizard of Wrestling. Distracting Tojo. Here comes Ox Baker. His one opportunity at offense here. Uses a suplex. Takes Tojo down on the mat. And begins the ground and pound attack. Followed up with a series of stomps and kicks. Now Tojo in trouble. With Ox Baker on the attack. A series of hard lefts to the head. Followed up with a stomp to the midsection. Now followed up with a series of rights. Ox Baker has regained control of the situation here, raining blows repeatedly on the head of Tojo Yamamoto. Oh, look at this. A brain claw. Tojo Yamamoto center ring. Referee Willie Johnson checking it out. Tojo trying to make it to his feet, and he does. Look at this. A shot to the midsection, a second one. Backs Ox Baker off. Tojo backs him up. Whoa, a beautiful axe kick. Ox Baker counters. Repeats the ground and pound attack. With Tojo down on the mat, Ox Baker laying in a heel hook stretch on Tojo. Ox Baker finally mounting some serious offense here. Oh, what a suplex. Powerful. A loud slam all through the building. The Grand Wizard assisting Ox Baker, as it were, with a chair. Ox Baker apparently needing no help at the moment. Tojo Yamamoto in trouble. Here we go. Ox Baker goes for a pin, but too close to the ropes. Tojo quickly back up on his feet. Catches the kick to the midsection from Ox Baker. Tojo, oh, helping over with a back body drop. Ox Baker rounds up Tojo. Tojo counters with a quick kick. Another, a right, a left. Look at this right here. Knees to the midsection for Ox Baker. Tojo makes his way to the middle rope as the referee dispatches that chair. Ox Baker gets up to his feet. Here we go. Whoa. Big time crash and burn for Tojo. Ox Baker still stunned. Flying punch off the ropes. Takes him down. Tojo Yamamoto rounds up Ox Baker. Another beautiful flying punch. Drops him again. Tojo rounds him up one more time. Whoa, running spear and a quick cover. 1, 2, 3. Well, sir, Tojo Yamamoto wrapping this one up fairly quickly. Let's get the official time from Aria Mitchell.
The time was 4 minutes and 36 seconds, and your winner, Tojo Yamamoto.
Well, now, Mr. Myron. I guess I should have known. If anyone could have predicted the outcome of this one, it has to be you. I mean, Tojo wrapped Ox Baker up and did it in a rip of a hurry. What tipped you off and made you so damn sure, though?
His history. He's great in singles. He's great in tags with the Iron Sheik. He's just got a great track record.
Well, certainly Tojo Yamamoto wrapping up Ox Baker, as you say, in a rip of a hurry. We'll be right back with more RWL Rage right after this.
Jeannie Dynamite mark 7 unprecedented years as Women's World Champion? Or will it be death by snoo time? Jeannie Parker defends the title against Dione the Titaness.
Well, I asked Jeannie about it, and she says Dione deserves to be Women's World Champion. She's got all the tools she needs, but it is the one wish that the Jeannie cannot grant. Check her out. Look at that little cheeky wink. The sexy soul sister of the squared circle.
Believe you me, once that bell rings, you're gonna forget that these two are actually good friends. The women's world title on the block for Dione, and a 7-year streak as champ for Dynamite Jeannie Parker.
Walt Ralph Byrne rings the bell, and here we go. They lock up. Jeannie Dynamite with the upper hand right away. Slams Dione into the far corner. Dione counters, puts Jeannie in the corner, tags her with a hard right. Starts driving those big legs into the midsection of Jeannie Parker. Oh man, a hard series of shots too. Followed up with a couple of boots to the chest. And a hard kick to the midsection. Like you said, Wally, you're gonna forget these two are friends. Has her up over the shoulders. 265 pounds. Out over the top rope and out onto the floor. Jeannie Dynamite slides out after her. Jeannie sets it up. There's the hard right. Followed up with a stomp and a kick. Jeannie Dynamite Again, oh, look at this, driving multiple knees into the chest of Dione. Oh, man. The women's world title on the line in this main event. Jeannie Dynamite drives Dione into the apron. Dione the Titaness has the goozle, setting her up for the chokeslam, but Jeannie Dynamite counters with a headbutt, says, no, you're not doing that to me. Jeannie, with a forearm, drops Dione. Jeannie, with a series of shots, has Dione reeling backwards. Rounds her up in the front cradle again, has her up one more time, pitches her over the top rope and out onto the floor. Jeannie Dynamite, a bit of a powerhouse herself. Locks her up. This ain't good. Looks like he's setting her up for that crucifix powerbomb. Boom! Oh, man, Jeannie in big trouble. Here's a cover from Dione. 1, 2. But a near fall. Jeannie Dynamite getting the left shoulder up. Dione the Titaness having to start from 0. Rounds up Jeannie Parker. She's got the goozle, goes for the chokeslam, slopes, and she nailed it. Jeannie Parker tagged with the chokeslam, and Dione's not finished yet. Stalking Parker one more time. We could be seconds away from a new women's world champion here. Dione the Titaness has her all the way up. Power bombs her one more time. Goes for the cover and hooks the leg. 1, 2. Oh, shut up, Jeannie Dynamite. Again. Taking 2 big shots from Dione the Titaness and still won't give up. This has been a ride, guys. Dione with the goozle again. Jeannie Parker says, no, not this time. Another headbutt. Stuns Dione. Jeannie rounds her up. Has her locked up. Has her, oh man, drives a knee right into the head of Dione. Jeannie rounds her up again real quick. Look at this powerful one-arm slam from Dynamite. Jeannie Parker rounds her up again, and another spinning one-arm slam. Wow. Jeannie Parker pull a senton off the bottom rope. Dione the Titaness suddenly in big trouble here. Jeannie Dynamite whips her to the far corner. A kick to the midsection. Dione seated in the far corner. Jeannie Parker putting the boots to Dione the Titaness, putting all her weight into it. And look at this, all the way up and all the way down, both knees into the chest, a little bit of bitty bomb right there. And Jeannie Dynamite. Jeannie rounded up, jaw jackal from Dione. Dione fighting back again viciously, man, wow. Jeannie with elbows to the head of Dione, rounds her up. Axe kick takes her down. Jeannie Parker again driving a series of knees into the chest of Dione. She is going to be bruised and battered after this one. Another driving knee into the chest of Dione the Titaness. Jeannie follows it up with a stomp. A basement drop kick to the back of the head. Follows it up with a stomp to the hand. Oh. Jeannie Parker takes herself topside one more time, about to go air. There's the elbow right across the back of Dione the Titaness. Jeannie Parker rolls her over, goes for the cover and hooks the leg. 1, 2, 3. Shut up. She did it. Wow. Shut up and get the hell out of town. The Queen Dynamite, Jeannie Parker. 7 years. Unprecedented 7 years as RWL Women's World Champion.
Your winner, and still RWL Women's World Champion, Dynamite Jeannie
Guys,
Parker.
I'll tell you, it did not look good for Jeannie Parker there for a while. That one dragged on for quite a bit, and Dione did manage to inflict quite a bit of damage, but nonetheless, Jeannie Dynamite managing to hold out against Dione the Titaness.
Check this out. Jeannie offers Big Di coolness, a post-match handshake between these two incredible athletes. Jeannie says she's not the greatest of all time in RWL, but she says, the greatest right now, and man alive. Did she ever back it up tonight against Dione?
This is something I've been waiting on.
Oh, yeah?
Jeannie Dynamite, hot off her 84th successful title defense, marked the start of her 7th. Yes, you heard that right. 7th year as RWL Women's World Champion, and I guess it would be a little effed up not to hear from Dynamite Jeannie Parker. She had planned to do this at Snarl but decided to wait till tonight, and either way, here she is. and I'm stoked to hear what the Queen has to say for herself.
Dynamite Jeannie Parker, an unprecedented 7 years as Women's World Champion. Let's see what the Queen's got to say.
Well, people, I don't believe it myself even, but last week at the Ladies' Night Special, I beat Dion the Titaness to retain the RWL Women's World title 7 straight years running. I can't not thank everyone, all y'all fans that have supported me for all those years. You guys are a key reason I've stayed on top of the heap for all that time, and I need y'all to know I appreciate all of y'all. So now, I start working my way towards year 8. Will I make 8 years? I really don't know. I'd like to say for sure, I'm gonna be right back here next year, but there's no guarantees in our business. And it just stands to reason, this incredible lucky streak I've been on can't last forever. Some night, I know I'm gonna meet someone who's gonna be better than I am that night, and all this could end. That meant that Jeannie Parker never loses. Gone, it could happen next month. It might happen to years down the road. But when it does happen, I'll give up the title, but not before. Love y'all.
Proud yet modest and grounded, absolutely amazing Jeannie Parker thanking the fans and vowing not to give up the title until she is good and ready.
Miss Parker's gonna go off the grid for about 10 days, for some seriously well-earned vacation time. But no rest for us, so we'll be back in a minute with our next match.
Alright folks, welcome back to RWL Rage from Birmingham, Alabama. Myron Schimmelman, I cannot stand it any longer. That ear-to-ear Kool-Aid smile on your face. You are going to have to explain yourself.
Alright, I'll explain it. Alright, what you're about to see, folks, is that piece of trash, Too Short Popeye, along with the revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder. Here they are now.
The following is a tag team open challenge match scheduled for one fall with a 20-minute time limit. Approaching the ring, along with Too Short Popeye Scott Bell, at a combined weight of 446 pounds, the team of Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, the Revival.
You see, you gotta understand. It's an open challenge, right? Stay with me now. But they don't know who the open challenge is even from. They got no idea. Scott has no clue what's about to happen. This is so good.
You are having far too much fun with this, Myron. Whatever's going on, I'm sure it's going to be good.
We know just how very much Myron hates Too Short. Obviously, you know who this open challenge is from, and there are just way too many possibilities for me to even hope to narrow it down. It could be literally anyone, and like 99% of them are gonna hate Scott Bell as much as you do, and you are gonna hurt yourself, laughing that damn hard mister. Take it easy, Myron, honey.
You're right. It could be literally anyone in RWL. And most of them, yes, most of them would hate Scott. But trust me, you're never gonna expect this one. It's the best, at the best of all possibilities. It's on that, it's good.
I haven't seen him have this much fun in a long time, Christy. Scott Bell, along with Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, the Revival, a fairly good standalone tag team. In extremely bad company, along with Too Short Popeye, have made their way out here for this open challenge from challengers unknown. Going to make for an extremely interesting tag team matchup.
Their opponents, along with Matthew James Ferrantino, at a combined weight of 568 pounds, Lars Sullivan and Gene Snitsky.
You have got to be joking, Mr. It Wasn't My Fault, Gene Snitsky. Matthew James Ferrantino pulling a big, scary rabbit out of the hat and bringing back Lars Sullivan, no less. who Scott Bell dispatched a few weeks ago by a kendo stick, and that was his pink slip. He also stated anyone who was willing to try and pick up Lars Sullivan and rehabilitate him was more than welcome, and Matthew James Ferrantino, the mathematician, the whiz kid, has decided to take him up on the offer and paired him up with Gene Snitsky. This is absolute. Myron, you weren't kidding. This is a surprise.
This is absolutely insane. There's just so much to unpack here. But so much of it comes back to MJ Ferrantino and his deep-seated dislike for Too Short. They're natural enemies, like Batman and the Joker or something. It's weird. But hot damn, Myron, you weren't playing games with this one. Gene Snitsky and Lars Sullivan. It's like a match made in hell. Plus, now Ferrantino's for one more. Tag team in that swollen stable of his too. This some wildish right here.
I can't take all the credit. It was Tex Lynch that found Snitsky and brought him to Ferrantino. But it was Ferrantino that went to Lars Sullivan almost the day he was fired. Oh boy, Scott's in trouble.
There does seem to be a thread of twisted justice and MJ Ferrantino snatching up Lars Sullivan from oblivion.
And on Too Short, just a couple of weeks away from the start of this year's Sweet Revenge Summer Tour too. Ferrantino's played this one like a fine fiddle on Scott Bell. And y'all just know, I love to see it.
I knew if anyone would appreciate this, Christy, it would have been you.
Hang on to your hats, guys. Bell and Ferrantino are squaring up. Watch out now.
Hi, Dick Knows. You know you did a really stupid thing, not only mistreating Lars Sullivan, but just tossing him aside like trash. I decided to take you up on that challenge. Now, he's gonna need a lot of deprogramming and chew to get him back to working singles again. So for now, I paired him up with Gene Snitsky, and these guys are gonna slap a Do Not Resuscitate sticker on the revival tonight. And I'm just getting started with you, Bell. I'm going to war with your monkey ass.
Is that right? Listen, you sanctimonious sunbish. The Sweet Revenge Tour starts in the Southwest. My part of town. You and your whatevers will be on our terms, so bring it. You geek jag off.
Geek Jagoff. He meant that thing he just said.
Dash Wilder and Gene Snitsky starting us off there as the bell. They lock up. Dash Wilder winds up Snitsky's arm. Snitsky turns it around on him. Has him in the top wrist lock, slams him down with a sweep of the leg. Nicely done by Gene Snitsky. Snitsky whips Dash Wilder in and out of the corner. Dash Wilder counters, sneaks up from behind. Clothesline takes Snitsky down to the canvas. Snitsky quickly back up into a Luthez press. Series of hard right hands to the head of Dash Wilder. Snitsky urging Dash Wilder back to his feet. There's a kick to the head from Dash Wilder. Dash Wilder countered by Gene Snitsky. Snitsky with Dash Wilder. Whoa, Michinoku driver from Gene Snitsky. Another counter. Dash Wilder back up on his feet. Rounds up Gene Snitsky. A shot to the back of the shoulders. Head first into the opposing team's turnbuckle goes Gene Snitsky. Here comes Scott Dawson. And here comes a double team from the Revival. Look at this. Beautiful leg drop. Combined teamwork from the Revival. They are an accomplished tag team in spite of their company. Fireman's carry from Gene Snitsky. Snitsky rounds him up. Look at this, trying for the pile driver, but no, Scott Dawson counters it. Gene Snitsky catching a pile driver. Scott Dawson raining right hands on the head of Gene Snitsky. MJ Ferrantino watching with rapt attention here, of course. Snitsky steps out. Here comes Lars Sullivan. The throwaway, if you will. The metaphorical Velveteen Rabbit of MJ Ferrantino. With this, Scott Dawson with a counter and a shot to the back of Lars Sullivan. Sullivan whipped to the far corner. Here we go. Clothesline takes down Lars Sullivan. Scott Dawson rounds him up again. Repeats it, whips him back in. Another clothesline takes him down to the mat one more time. Scott Dawson countered by Lars Sullivan. Scott Dawson counters, and with a kick takes Sullivan down to the mat again. Sullivan back up on his feet. Catches a jawbreaker and a clothesline. Scott Dawson extremely aggressive here. He steps towards his corner, tags in Dash Wilder. Here comes Gene Snitsky again. Fresh partners all the way around. Snitsky misses with a clothesline. A wrap-around neckbreaker from Dash Wilder. Wilder rounds up Snitsky. Whips him to his team's corner. Snitsky quickly steps out. Quickly countered by Dash Wilder. Clothesline swings and misses. A kick to the leg from Dash Wilder to Snitsky. Snitsky whipped to the opposing team's corner again. Snitsky counters with a kick, escapes the corner, misses with the clothesline again. A whole lot of swings and misses here. Gene Snitsky with Dash Wilder up, nails him with a tombstone pile driver. Goes for the cover here, but no. Dash Wilder finding his way out some way, somehow. Gene Snitsky catching a series of kicks from Scott Dawson, who returns to his team's corner, now gouging the face of Dash Wilder. Gene Snitsky rounds up Dash Wilder. Wilder whipped to the opposing team's corner, catches a cheap shot from Lars Sullivan, escapes the corner. Whips Snitsky to his team's corner, the Revival. Snitsky escapes the Revival's corner. Counters Dash Wilder, whips him to his team's corner. Dash Wilder escapes the corner. Counter whips Gene Snitsky to his team's corner yet again. Here comes Scott Dawson on the tag. The double team in play here. Dawson winds him up. Here's a stomp right to the knee of Gene Snitsky. Snitsky with a shoulder tackle and a stomp to the midsection of Scott Dawson. He's got his, stomped the arm, but stomped the hand first. Snitsky taken down with a leg sweep by Scott Dawson. Dawson follows up with a stomp. Too short pop by Scott Bell. Gotta be in some kind of state of shock at seeing the return of Lars Sullivan, accompanied by Gene Snitsky. Snitsky with a back body drop on Scott Dawson. Dawson catches a stomp from Snitsky. Snitsky countered with a shoulder tackle from Scott Dawson. Dawson around Snitsky. Snitsky counter whips him out onto the apron. Brings him back in the hard way. Gene Snitsky imposing his will on Scott Dawson. Into the corner he goes. Snitsky turns him around. A series of machine gun punches, well followed up with an uppercut. Scott Dawson collapses into the corner. His alley-oop assisted out by Gene Snitsky. Scott Dawson trying to find his corner, find his partner. Slowly managing to subdue Gene Snitsky only momentarily. There's a hard shot to the midsection from Scott Dawson and a sweep that takes Snitsky down to the canvas. Snitsky counters with an arm drag. Gene Snitsky rounds him up. Whoa! What a chop right to the head. Scott Dawson is out. O-U-T. Here comes Lars Sullivan. Sullivan catches a jawbreaker from Scott Dawson. Dawson swings and misses with the clothesline. Sullivan shoves him down to the canvas. Lars Sullivan rounds him up. Look at this. He's got him up big time. One-arm slam. Here's a cover one. Dash Wilder saving the match for his team. Snitsky rounds up Dash Wilder, slams him down, and he's on his way out. Sullivan rounds up Scott Dawson. Scott Dawson counters. Quickly back up on his feet. Rounds up Lars Sullivan. Sullivan responds with a back body drop, follows it up with a stomp to the midsection. And Lars Sullivan going for higher elevation here. As Scott Dawson makes his way to a standing position, Dash Wilder nowhere to be found. Double axe handle right across the back of the head to Scott Dawson. Lars Sullivan drags Dawson center ring. Starts raining knuckles on the temples of Scott Dawson. Lars Sullivan with a stomp to the back. Sullivan rounds him up. Sets it up one more time. Another beautiful one-arm slam. Here's a cover. 1, 2, 3. And how about this? Snitsky and Sullivan picking up the win over the Revival by pinfall. Let's get the official time.
The time was 7 minutes and 38 seconds. Your winners, Lars Sullivan and Gene Snitsky.
Okay, so, I don't know if you'd call it rehabilitated, but that was Lars Sullivan's best match in weeks, and he and Gene Snitsky seem to work well as a team, cause they sure as hell shut down the Revival tonight. Should be an interesting little war between Bell and Ferrantino, and this right here? Beautiful start. Again, Myron, chef's kiss baby.
Thank you, Bellick. I appreciate it.
All right, well, there you go. The new partnership between Lars Sullivan and Gene Snitsky on the terms of MJ Ferrantino, taking to task the Revival, Scott Dawson and Dash Wilder, for a pinfall victory for Lars Sullivan. And a sense of redemption as far as Scott Bell is concerned. Fans, there's still a whole lot more RWL Rage coming up right after the break. Stay with us. A whole lot more on the way. All right, coming up next, the Yankee Rose, Georgia Washington, constantly complaining about a bigger challenge. Well, she certainly got her challenge tonight. Dione the Titaness against the Yankee Rose, Georgia Washington.
This next ladies' match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Approaching the ring from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, the Yankee Rose, Miss Georgia Washington.
Dione's still getting over not becoming women's world champion. And new baby tonight. It's the Yankee Rose that's gonna catch all the hell? Shut up and take my money. Dione is amazing. I still don't believe she won a 2-on-1 handicap match against the Angels of Anarchy in her last match. I don't think I need Myron the Wizards to tell me Georgia Washington is about to get chopped down like the cherry tree.
Georgia's been on a losing streak, and she's about to get slaughtered by Dione. Slaughtered, I say.
Her opponent from Milan, Italy, the 6'5", 260-pound, Dione the Titaness.
It's death by snoo time. Oh, this is going to be great.
Dione the Titaness, all 6'5", 265 pounds of the Italian Testarossa, and this would be their first encounter between herself and the Yankee Rose, Georgia Washington. And to be brutally honest, as Myron points out, Georgia Washington's luck has not been good lately, especially since her recent loss to Dynamite Jeannie Parker.
It's kind of ironic though, Don.
What's that?
Both Dione and Georgia have recent L's on their records to Jeannie Parker, and now, here they both are, and I almost feel badly for what's about to happen to the poor, little Yankee Rose. I'm sorry, I suck at sarcasm.
I quite understand you're not a fan of Georgia Washington. I mean, I'm sure Georgia has fans, and I feel terrible for both of them. This is going to be great. Walt Rothburn rings the bell. Here we go. Georgia charges. Dione puts up a brace, slams her down with one arm. Follows up with a stomp. Doesn't connect. Grapples with Georgia. Rose shoves her down. Clothesline. Takes down the Yankee Rose. Georgia rounded up. Counters Dione with a kick to the leg. An arm drag from Dione. A kick to the midsection from Georgia. Georgia with a slap. Grabs a hold of Dione. Whips her to the ropes. Makes the duck under. Makes the leapfrog. Winds her up and whoa. Nasty neck breaker. Standing drop kick takes Dione down to the canvas. And Georgia Washington taking advantage of a grounded Dione. Whoa, misses with the driving knee to the back. Dione a step too fast, misses with the clothesline. A clothesline from Georgia takes down Dione. A driving knee right into the face of the Titaness. Georgia counters Dione again. Georgia Washington sets her up, takes her down. A nasty leg snap from the Yankee Rose and a display of arrogance from Georgia Washington. A stomp to the midsection to Dione. A stomp to the shoulder. Georgia Washington makes her way to the high rent district here. Here we go. Drives the knee right into the chest of Dione as she was trying to get up. Dione back up on her feet, quickly countered again by Georgia Washington. Georgia Washington with impressive speed, managing to stay one step ahead of Dione the Titaness here. A head scissor from Georgia Washington. Dione, look at this, unable to escape. The Yankee Rose imposing her will here again, flips her over in this leg scissor. Impressive, but Dione, with a series of shots to the ribs, disengages the Yankee Rose, but that was nonetheless impressive. Dione whipped to the corner, deftly steps out. Hard shot to Georgia. Georgia slammed down with a Michinoku driver. A hard kick to the back from Dione. Dione the Titaness puts on the brakes, belly-to-belly suplex to Georgia Washington. Georgia with an arm drag to Dione. This match, clubbing overhand right. Fairly intense so far. Hard right from Dione puts Georgia down to the canvas. Georgia counters, takes down Dione with an elbow, proceeds to stomp Dione the Titaness. Best strategy is to keep her down on the canvas, keep her off her vertical base, slams her face down. Dione quickly rolls up, but Georgia right there with a kick and another clubbing overhand right. Determined to keep Dione off her vertical base, where she's the least dangerous. The Yankee Rose doing quite a bit of showing off here when she should be attacking. Drives a knee into the head of Dione again. Georgia Washington rounds up the Titaness. Dione sweeps the leg. And look at this. A display from the Italian Testarossa. Drives the knee of Georgia Washington into the canvas. Gathers up Georgia Washington. Oh, what a series of chops. A rebound off the ropes and a big-time chop to the head of the Yankee Rose. Oh, here we go. She's got the choke slam. Oh, there it is. Georgia Washington slammed halfway through the canvas center ring. 1, 2. Unbelievable. Georgia Washington powering out of that pin, following that choke slam. Dione just staring at a battered Georgia Washington. Hip toss, winds up and must have knocked her into next week. She's down. 1, 2, 3. Dione the Titaness destroys the Yankee Rose in only just a matter of minutes.
Here's the time, 4 minutes and 29 seconds. Your winner, Dione the Titaness.
Myron, Chrissy, I don't even know what to say to that. Dione the Titaness absolutely eating the Yankee Rose for breakfast here. Knocking her out in just under 5 minutes. Ladies and gentlemen, we'll be back with more RWL Rage right after the break. Do stay with us. Coming up next, a match where both opponents move on up in the brackets, as it were, as the modern-day Maharaja Jinder Mahal gets set to lock it up in a non-title match with the Rage Television Champion, T-Dog Tomasio.
The following non-title match is scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle, from the Punjab in India, weighing 234 pounds, the modern-day Maharaja, Jinder Mahal.
Now, I'll grant you he's not doing too hot right now, but let's face it, Jinder Mahal's got a fan base, and they do like him. So, he's gonna bounce back. The question is when. I don't know if it's gonna be tonight against T-Dog, though.
Indeed, the modern-day Maharaja has had his share of problems lately. including people like Mad Dog Mark McKay. But the modern-day Maharaja always seems to bounce back. Let's see if tonight's going to change his fortunes.
This one's a big step up for Jinder, this non-title match with the Rage TV champion. And it's a fairly big step up for the Dogster too, who's been facing the cream of the crop since getting the Rage TV belt away from Stefan Von Berger. Fairly even match on paper, about the same height and weight, both technically gifted, but I'm favoring the Dogster here. Jinder has been on a little bit of a slump lately.
You're learning, Christy. You are definitely learning.
His opponent, from parts unknown, weighing 238 pounds, he's the RWL Rage television champion, T-Dog. Temesio.
The Dogster going stag in this non-title match. No Tex Lynch, no way Jose, nobody backing him up. He's going it alone, wants it this way. Between himself and his opponent, one-on-one, man-to-man, this is exactly how T-Dog Tomasio wanted this match to go down against Jinder Mahal. And he certainly got his way.
It also really helps that, well, Jinder Mahal doesn't really have anyone that comes to ringside with him, does he?
Well, I suppose Marin T-Dog must feel like it gives him some degree of an advantage having no seconds at ringside, being able to give his full and undivided attention to his opponent. And with an opponent like Jinder Mahal, full and undivided attention is commonly recommended. A fairly significant step-up match for both of these opponents. Referee Willie Johnson rings the bell. They move center ring. They lock up. Tomasio whipped to the far corner by Jinder Mahal. T-Dog counters with an elbow. Locks up Jinder Mahal. Has him up over his shoulders. Takes him back to the far corner. Drops him head first into the turnbuckle. The Dogster with a stomp and a kick. Now driving a knee right into the chest of Jinder Mahal. T-Dog Tomasio starting out strong here in this one. Oh, a hard right that stunned Jinder Mahal and backed him up right back into the far corner goes the modern-day Maharaja. Tomasio with a kick to the calf of Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal catching shots and right back into the corner. T-Dog Tomasio refusing to allow Jinder Mahal to escape that corner. And once more, head first into the turnbuckle, another hard right. T-Dog whips him out over onto the apron. Another hard right to the head of Jinder Mahal. Jinder Mahal has had quite enough. He counters, gets himself back in the ring. T-Dog counters with a kick. Has him up. Oh, look at this. Crucifix powerbomb time. Yes, it is. Whoa. Down goes Jinder Mahal. Tomasio catches a kick to the head. Jinder Mahal right back up on his feet. Starts to stomp and kick T-Dog. T-Dog up over the shoulders of Jinder Mahal. T-Dog countering with elbows to the head of Jinder Mahal. T-Dog has him up, sidewalk slam to the modern-day Maharaja. T-Dog Tomasio turns him over, covers and hooks the leg. 1, 2, but only a 2. A near fall for Jinder Mahal as T-Dog Tomasio takes himself topside. Big-time elbow drop right across the chest of Jinder Mahal. Tomasio countered by Jinder with a sweep of the leg, a stomp, and a well-timed kick to the chest from the modern-day Maharaja. Jinder Mahal now in control and going right to work on T-Dog Tomasio center ring. A series of stomps and kicks. T-Dog Tomasio absolutely reeling here. T-Dog gets himself back to a standing position, puts on the brakes, drives a knee into the midsection, and decks Jinder Mahal with a hard right. A stomp to the shoulder. T-Dog, two-handed choke lift and hurls Jinder Mahal halfway across the ring. Wow. The Dogster, deceptively powerful, always has been. Rear chinlock on Jinder Mahal. Referee Willie Johnson checking things out. T-Dog really cinching it in here, but Jinder Mahal slammed face first into the canvas by the Dogster. A driving knee into the face of Jinder Mahal. Now driving all his weight into the lower back of Jinder. Whoa, Jinder slams him down. T-Dog charges, misses with the clothesline. Jinder Mahal rounds him up over the shoulder, drives both knees into the midsection of T-Dog Tomasio, and now a blatant choke. Apparently Jinder Mahal's patience is exhausted as far as T-Dog Tomasio is concerned. Jinder Mahal stomps the shoulder of the Dogster, follows it up with a stomp to the midsection, and another well-timed kick right to the chest of T-Dog Tomasio. The Rage television champion finding himself at a disadvantage here as Jinder Mahal takes himself to the top turnbuckle. T-Dog slowly making his way to a standing position, and here we go. Missile shoulder. Amazing from Jinder Mahal. A stomp to the back of T-Dog, quickly back up on his feet and taking all kinds of shots. A quick evasion. But Jinder Mahal right back on the attack, takes him down with a hard shot to the midsection. T-Dog counters with a kick, gets back up on his feet. The Dogster with a chokeslam attempt here. Jinder counters with an elbow. T-Dog counters with an elbow to the leg. Jinder counters. T-Dog counters. Wow, what a ride, these two. Two-handed choke lift again. Slammed down by T-Dog Tomasio. T-Dog yanks Jinder halfway across the ring by his ankle. The Dogster with an elbow to the face of Jinder Mahal. Jinder again whipped into the far corner. T-Dog driving knees into the midsection of the modern-day Maharaja. Down he goes into a seated position. More kicks, more stomps, and another knee driven into the chest of Jinder Mahal. T-Dog Tomasio coming back alive here after losing momentum momentarily to Jinder Mahal. Drives a kick into the leg of the modern-day Maharaja. T-Dog stalking Jinder Mahal here. He's got him set up. Oh, here we go. The Dogster with that power bomb. Boom, there it is. T-Dog Tomasio covers and hooks the leg. Here's the ref. 1, 2, 3. That is it. T-Dog Tomasio defeats the modern-day Maharaja by pinfall.
The time was 5 minutes and 13 seconds. Your winner, T-Dog Tomasio.
An extremely important win for the Dogster, the Rage television champion. This non-title matchup scoring himself a pinfall victory over the modern-day Maharaja Jinder Mahal. It is, however, an unfortunate loss for Jinder, one in a string of several so far. I wonder how long it's going to take for Jinder Mahal to turn it around. Ladies and gentlemen, our main event. When we return from the break, stay with us. Fans, we come to tonight's main event under the most bizarre set of circumstances. Macho Man Randy Savage, the new RWL United States Champion, is set in a non-title match to face the RWL World Champion, one half of the Southern Gentleman, American Supreme Matt Clark.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight's Rage main event is a non-title champions duel match, scheduled for one fall with a 15-minute time limit. Coming down the aisle along with Too Short Popeye Scott Bell, from Sarasota, Florida, weighing 256 pounds, he's the RWL United States Champion, the Macho Man, Randy Savage.
I just wanted a moment to confirm it. That is American Supreme Matt Clark, and he is going after Macho Man Randy Savage before the bell's even rung in this non-title matchup. A dropkick takes Savage down, still hasn't got his ring clothes on. Well, Macho Man Randy Savage, being the victim of a sudden attack by American Supreme Matt Clark before the match, no doubt in retaliation for taking the U.S. title away from his cousin Ralph the Bod Whitley by pressuring him into a match he didn't want. Matt Clark still hasn't gotten into the ring, delivers a backbreaker to Randy Savage. Clark Moves in again, too short. Popeye Scott Bell deciding to give them some distance. A kick to the midsection. Crystal Gabor watching along too. Randy Savage goes behind, a shot to the back to Matt Clark. Matt Clark counters. Clark sets it up, a suplex to Randy Savage on the outside. Finally, we got Clark in the ring at least. There's a start. Don't know if we're actually going to have a match here or not. Randy Savage makes his way in. We're official now. Here we go. Randy Savage with a headlock punch on American Supreme. And he is definitely going to retaliate for this pre-match attack from American Supreme Matt Clark. Scott Bell, one of the most mortal enemies of American Supreme Matt Clark, looking on. Randy Savage counters, escapes the corner. Matt Clark counters with an elbow and a clothesline, takes Randy Savage down. American Supreme Matt Clark up on the middle rope as Randy Savage makes his way to a standing position. Here we go. Whoa, look at this. Luke does press off the middle rope and a series of right hands. The Macho Man Randy Savage. Clark goes for the cover. 1, 2, but no. Randy Savage forcing the left shoulder up. American Supreme Matt Clark. I don't believe Clark just ran out here and attacked Randy Savage. Most uncharacteristic of American Supreme. But such is the rivalry between him and Scott Bell and anyone who ever works with him. Randy Savage charges, takes down Matt Clark with a flying elbow. Savage rounds Clark up. A gouge of the eyes to American Supreme. Randy Savage whips Clark to the ropes. An elbow takes Clark down to the mat. Scott Bell cheering on the Macho Man. The new United States champion. Here we go, off the top rope, a driving knee into the chest of American Supreme. Randy Savage again gouging the face of Matt Clark. Savage goes behind. A hard right to the chest. And Randy Savage doing a little showboating for the fans here. Clark gathered up by Randy Savage again. A clothesline from American Supreme. Randy Savage charges another flying elbow, takes Clark down to the mat again. Randy Savage countered by Matt Clark with a right. Another series of a hip toss from Randy Savage. Savage rounds Clark up. Hard whip to the ropes. Duck under. Another elbow from Randy Savage takes Clark down to the canvas again. Clark rolls out for a brief reset. Randy Savage in pursuit, might regret the mistake here. A suplex from Matt Clark on the outside. The referee has already begun the count. Randy Savage counters with a kick. Clark getting back up to his feet, catches a right to the top of the head. Driven into the barricade by Macho Man Randy Savage. This match has gotten way out of hand. The referee continues to count. Randy Savage with a clubbing overhand right to Matt Clark. Clark rounded up again. Another gouge of the eyes to American Supreme Matt Clark. And a jawbreaker while blinded. Randy Savage showboating to the fans in the front rows. Rounds up American Supreme again. Has him up, inverted atomic drop right to the nether regions. And again driven into the corner barricade. Randy Savage not allowing Matt Clark any kind of wiggle room here. Vertical suplex from the Macho Man. Randy Savage moving in again on Clark. Clark struggles free, manages to nail him with a right. Takes him down with a drop toe hold. Matt Clark trying to regain control. I think the referee getting way up there in the count. We're running out of time here. Randy Savage counters with a series of shots, gets himself free from American Supreme. Locks up Clark, drives him into the barricade again. Savage rounds up Clark again. Vertical suplex from the Macho Man. The referee still counting. Savage quickly makes his way back inside. And there it is. It is too late. American Supreme has been counted out.
At 4 minutes and 4 seconds, referee Willis Johnson has counted Matt Clark out of the ring. Your winner by way of a count out, Macho Man Randy Savage.
Cowardly win by Savage. Guess this is the kind of stuff we can expect from a Macho Man title reign. chump ran out the clock. Some champion. For all his alleged skill, I think Randy Savage sucks, and this yellow-ass count-out win is proof.
I'll bet you anything Scott Bell is still proud of that lousy. Wait a second here.
Wait a second, indeed. American Supreme Matt Clark and his cousin Rob the Bod Whitley attacking Randy Savage post-match here. Uncharacteristic, ungentlemanly conduct from the Southern gentleman. Randy Savage in a numbers game, battling back between Clark and Whitley, but it's no use. The numbers game's gonna prevail. Randy Savage takes down Clark, takes down Whitley, goes after Clark again, whips him to the far corner, takes down Rod Whitley. Randy Savage, a one-man fighting machine here. Rod the Bod Whitley with a hold on. Look at this. Double vertical suplex from the Southern gentleman, Randy Savage, rolling out to lower ground. Look at this. I don't believe it. Both cousins up on the top turnbuckle, both of them taken down. Whoa! The crowd here is going absolutely insane. Randy Savage back way the hell off Rob the Bod Whitley. Rounds himself up a kendo stick. Randy Savage, definitely the Southern gentleman, determined to make Macho Man rue the day. He pressured Rob the Bod Whitley into that U.S. title match. He just broke that kendo stick over the head of Macho Man Randy Savage. The Southern gentleman just going 7 kinds of crazy. Oh, Rob the Bod Whitley with a military press drop on the outside. This ain't even a match. There's no referee to stop it. He couldn't even if there was one. Rob the Bod Whitley with the ring steps. Tags Randy Savage with the ring steps. Savage goes after Clark with a vertical suplex. Disarms Rob the Bod Whitley. A gut-wrench suplex from Randy Savage, who is keeping up with the Southern gentleman in spite of their best efforts. Unbelievable. American Supreme locks up Randy Savage, gets him back inside the ring. A knee to the skull from Rod Whitley. American Supreme cheering on his cousin. Savage takes down Whitley. A clothesline over the top rope. Out onto the floor goes Randy Savage again. The ring is a wreck. All kinds of junk. Matt Clark with a kendo stick. Tags Randy Savage with it. Rob the Bod Whitley cheering on his cousin. Matt Clark taken down by Macho Man. Here comes Rod Whitley. Clark takes him down. American Supreme Matt Clark. Not only angry about his cousin, but angry at that count-out loss at the hands of Macho Man Randy Savage, and he looks like he's certainly going to pay for it in spades. Rob the Bod Whitley. Another double team Russian leg sweep from the Southern gentleman on the outside floor. How much more can Randy Savage possibly take? A kick to the midsection from Rod Whitley, all the way up for the powerbomb. Savage quickly counters with some right hands and gets out of danger. Right into the arms of Matt Clark. American Supreme has him up. Oh, shoulder breaker on the outside floor. A driving knee into the chest of Macho Man. And they have been beating on Macho Man Randy Savage for the better part of almost 3 minutes now. What a punishment from the Southern gentleman. Rod Whitley rolls Randy Savage back inside the ring. American Supreme cheering on Rod Whitley here. Whitley on the top turnbuckle turns himself around. Whoa! What a senton. Crushing Macho Man Randy Savage, the Southern gentleman, meting out some serious street justice to Macho Man Randy Savage in retaliation for his actions, which have earned him the RWL United States Championship. And you better believe, as far as Scott Bell's concerned, this is far from over.
Just a couple of quick things before we wrap it up here. One, that was absolutely beautiful. And two, I had absolutely nothing to do with that. They did that completely on their own initiative. I did Snitsky and Law Sullivan, yes. But this was the Southern gentlemen, all by themselves.
All right, RWL fans, that is going to do it for this week's edition of RWL Rage. As always, we thank all of you for following and supporting RWL Wrestling. Be sure to stick around because up next, this upcoming Saturday should be RWL Snarl with Wally, Johnny, and Hangman Tex Lynch. For all of us here at RWL, I've been Don Hickson saying thanks, good night, we'll see you next time at ringside. Good night, everybody.